Hey guys, we're in the middle of a rainstorm here. A little bit. It's still sunny out, but it's a little bit crazy around here today. Today I want to talk a little bit more about the wonkiness in the Philippines, the craziness, and the things that you're going to see around here that are kind of unexpected that you usually don't see in the United States. Sometimes you see stuff like this, but it's going to be in a different way usually than you see it over here. Philippines is a different way of showing things and things rearing their ugly head or things happening and stuff like that. And one of the things I noticed over here that happens is this. The other day we went over to Tagaytay, and when I was over in Tagaytay, we decided to go to Army and Navy as we usually do, and we went to turn in there, and the parking lot was all blocked off, and I was like, wow, that's kind of strange. And I looked down at the building itself because it was way down the bottom of the hill. Anybody that's gone over to Tagaytay knows what I'm talking about, and it's right where you can look down at Tal Lake and the volcano and everything. Well, anyway, what happened was, when I looked down there, Army and Navy closed, Yellow Cab, which is right next to it, both closed, and the whole parking lot was all closed off, which is kind of strange. So anyway, what happened was we just figured, okay, we'll go on to some other place. So we ended up going to McDonald's. And we got over to McDonald's, and it's kind of funny because McDonald's has been changing over here from the people that mess up your order to those machines that you type in exactly what you want. And a lot of Filipinos have a hard time using those. I'm not quite sure why. I myself, when I go to end the order, I have a problem getting to that thing, and it says to grab something on the side of the machine. It's not there, like some sort of number thing or something like that tells me to grab something, and there's nothing there. There's no numbers or anything there to grab. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So anyway, then it says proceed to checkout. I proceed to checkout and I pay. And it's just kind of weird getting used to that stuff and not having people. But you still have to go. If you only have pesos, you have to go up there, and you pay with your pesos, and then they give you the food. And it does prevent mess ups with the order, I noticed, which is kind of nice. Okay, unless you get up to the checkout and then you forgot something and then you order something, you add something to the order, and then it starts producing things where they start screwing up your order. Not all the time, but it does, start that process or open up the room that they're gonna mess up your order or something like that. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit more about some other stuff that had happened. And recently, this past month has been a whole bunch of stuff going on. One of the things was Baskin Robbins. Okay, Baskin Robbins just recently closed down, but I want to talk about the way that they closed because it was kind of crazy and wonky. And this is what you kind of expect in the Philippines. You don't expect, like, when a place closes, like Army and Navy, that was just boom, because they were open one week and then a week later, boom, both them and Yellow Cab just closed down and were gone. And nobody said anything that they were closing down or anything. So it was kind of weird. I did notice that they were starting to get out of stock on some items like soda and stuff like that. So that kind of, when you start seeing that sometimes, it's not always a tip because most of the restaurants always have stuff out of stock, but it's kind of a tip when you start seeing a lot of stuff go out of stock. And that happened actually at Baskin Robbins, but it was a 2-year train wreck because when COVID started, okay, they started missing some of their products. First they took down the shakes, then they took down sundaes, then they took down banana splits and all that stuff. All that stuff went all down at once. Then I started noticing ice creams were missing. Then they got down to 8 ice creams. And this is over the course of 2 years. And during this time, I had mentioned probably at least 4 or 5 times to the manager there. I says, "Are you guys closing down?" "Oh no, sir. We're waiting for a big order to come in, and because of the COVID, that's why we're having this problem." And I noticed they're still making about the same amount of sales, but maybe a little bit slower, maybe 20 to 30% slower because of the fact that a lot of their products they don't have. A lot of people like to go out and get a banana split, or they like to go out and get a sundae or whatever, or a shake or whatever, or a certain type of ice cream, and they usually have 31 flavors. Now they only have like 8. Then they went down to 4. And this is over the course of like 2.5 years, I'll say. Finally, they got into like about 9 months to a year where they only had mint chocolate chip ice cream. And it wasn't just here. It was mint chocolate chip at all their outlets, even over in Alabang. And I thought Alabang was going to be totally filled. I figured, okay, Alabang, Alabang being Alabang, a wealthy area, they're going to take care of their Baskin Robbins and have that place totally stocked full of everything, and it's going to be okay. Because I didn't know what was going on over at this store. I just thought it might have been the management. Anyway, I go to walk in over there. I walk in. They don't not only have like all their freezers empty, they only have one container of ice cream of mint chocolate chip in there. One container. And I'm not sure if they closed down too. I'm waiting to go over there to see if that one's closed down too. But this is the wonkiness and the craziness of the stuff that you see in the Philippines. And also when you're sitting in restaurants over here, one of the things you're gonna see is this. When I sit in Subway or at a restaurant sometime, or I go up to Manila sometimes, you have these people, they throw a card down and they're looking for money. And I always tell them, I don't like to be bothered while I'm eating, and that's kind of rude. Because it is, because I've been bothered like 2 or 3 times sometimes when I'm sitting in some of these restaurants, especially at Subway over in Alabang. People come in and they keep throwing their cards down looking for money, and it's like, hey dude or miss, this is not the place to be doing that. I'm sitting here with my family, we're out to eat, I don't want to be bothered. And they don't like to hear that, but I mean, I feel for them. I do feel for them, because I understand they're poverty stricken, but they got to learn to be, like, cool about it. If you ask me out in while I'm walking around the mall, I have no problem with that, or out in the streets or something like that. But when I'm in a restaurant, I'm paying not to be bothered, and some of these people actually will bother you in McDonald's and places that even have people at the front. I've been bothered in Texas Roadhouse before, once or twice. When you're sitting in Texas Roadhouse, sometimes the lady at the front will think that person's going in there to eat, when actually they're going around to bother people to try to get money. And then somebody will see them and ask them, ma'am, you can't be in here asking for money. You have to leave or whatever. As you can see, we're getting like a lot of rain right now. So it's just a big rainstorm passing through. But I want to talk about that, because a lot of you newbies out there, a lot of new guys coming over here that are coming in, you need to expect this stuff. You're going to get hounded for off people for begging. You're going to see a lot of strange things. You're going to see a lot of out of stocks. You're going to see things in restaurants that you normally don't see. When you order stuff, sometimes they're going to give you the wrong order. They're going to screw up your order totally from what you ordered. And it's usually because of communication. They don't understand what you're trying to say. They're not good in the English language. It might be the person is from the provinces or something like that, and they just don't understand. McDonald's was well known for that in Tracy Martira's, where every time I went in there, they messed up my order. Every time. There was 2 McDonald's. One was actually really good about it, and the other one was a mess. And they kept the people on that were messing up orders. And I noticed that the manager would be with these people sometimes for 1 or 2 years, still talking to these people, trying to teach these people. And they've been with the McDonald's for 2 or 3 years sometimes, and they're still messing up orders, yet they still keep these people on. And it's kind of shocking that they do that, because you think after 2 or 3 years, I mean, these people must go on break and forget, they must have to retrain them when they come back or something, because every time I see them out there, there's a manager out there saying, no, you got to do it this way. No, you got to do it that way. And I felt like saying, hey, miss, this lady's been here for 3 years now screwing up my orders. Maybe it's time you switch and you put somebody that can get the orders right. But they don't do that. And I'm not sure why, but they do it. They keep on leaving these people on. And a lot of stuff I notice, like, that gets ordered a lot. Apple pies. People order them a lot. I notice people in front of me, they're ordering them and stuff like that. They'll cook them, and it takes a long time to cook the apple pies. So you think they'd have like a lot in stock and keep them warm or whatever, but they don't do that. Like, they don't think ahead here like we do in the U.S. I notice managers in the U.S. at McDonald's, they're really fast. They want to get orders out. They want, when you got a large line there of people, start cooking up some of your apple pies. Start cooking extra French fries and stuff like that. But here, I noticed that the orders are slower. They'll give you a portion of the order first, and then another portion of the order, and sometimes even a third portion. It's like you're getting, 3 different meals. Like they'll give you your sundaes first, if you ordered a sundae or something like that, and they'll give you a Coke, and then, it's just weird. Then they'll get like different sections of the meal, and then you sit there and you eat it, and then you don't even eat it in order. You eat your dessert first or whatever. It's to be expected here, and a lot of people that live here know that. We live with it. We don't say anything. Sometimes we complain, and I've kind of given up on complaining about that, because it doesn't help you. Next time you come in, it's going to happen exactly the same way usually. I'm not telling you not to complain. I'm telling you that it's something you really need to get used to, kind of. I was out at TGI Fridays the other day. The lady dropped mayonnaise, and it went all over my leg and went all over the place, all over everybody. The guy across from me, it went on him. It was actually from his table. And went all over my leg, went all over my chair, went all over the floor, all over the place. And they come out and cleaned it up, but they didn't apologize or anything. I don't know who dropped it. I think it was the waitress or whatever, but it wasn't a big deal. I mean, I just let it go. I wiped my leg off, and that was it. But it's stuff like that you see. Like, I think one of the problems in the Philippines is this. is Filipinos are shy. They're afraid to cause commotion. And be nice about that, because sometimes people think, well, geez, you should have said you're sorry or something like that. They're shy. And I understand a lot of people, Americans, we're used to people apologizing and stuff like that. And Filipinos can be very quiet and very shy. And it's something you have to learn about, because if you yell at them, you're insulting them. And I see a lot of Americans, they lose their temper with Filipinos sometimes. And I hate to see that, because Filipinos are still the nicest people in the world. But remember, they're shy. They're not willing to admit fault for whatever reason. I think it's part of the culture or whatever. And it's not up to us Americans to teach them about their culture. It's their culture, and I just accept it as part of living in the Philippines. It's just part of life here. It's part of the Filipino experience, the American experience that are over here too. I've seen more rude Americans than I've ever seen rude Filipinos. I very rarely see rude Filipinos. It's always rude Americans. And we got to be careful, because when we say something to somebody, you have to say it with the utmost respect. Say, I say this with respect, please. I'm not trying to be mean, but like if you have a problem with anything here, like if you have to talk to your neighbors, you have to talk to somebody about noise or something like that. Maybe it's after 10 o'clock, somebody's playing their karaoke machine, say, hey, listen, I'm going to bed. I got an early morning. I got to get up at 4 to go into Manila or something like that. Talk to them in a kind way and just say, I don't mean to be rude or break into your party or something. Could you just turn it down a little bit so I can sleep tonight a little bit? I'd really appreciate it, And sometimes if you don't have anything going on the next day, we're retired. Just let it go. I mean, that's the way to live here in the Philippines. So just remember, guys, kindness goes a long ways here in the Philippines. It really, really does, and it gets you more respect in your neighborhood. You don't want to be a guy that's hated in your neighborhood, or in a restaurant for yelling at somebody, or just for being rude in a hotel. When you're checking into a hotel and they forgot something or something. Just be patient. Most of the times they're working. A lot of times it's misunderstandings, and you got to give a little bit with these misunderstandings, because it's a language barrier. You're in their country, they're not in your country. If it was in the United States, I'd say, hey, have at it. If you want to yell at these people, whatever, they forgot something, major or something like that, and you told them twice or whatever, hey, have at it. But something, you're in the Philippines. Remember that. Be respectful. We represent the United States or Western nations, wherever you may come from, whether it be the UK or Australia or whatever other countries. I know we have a lot of people watching here from Denmark and Germany and stuff like that. Remember, you represent your country. Represent it well, guys. These people over here, they try hard. They really do try hard. Filipinos try harder than anybody else in the world. They're some of the best servers in the world. But sometimes, remember, these people have language barriers over here. Even though English is a second language, keep in mind, we still have to be kind to these people, and we live here. We're on their turf. They're not on ours. God bless, guys. Take care.